यो 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 हेलो गाइस, कैसे हो आप सब। मैं आ गया हूँ एक नई वीडियो लेके। आज हम देखेंगे टॉप 10 डम्बेस्ट वेज टू डाई। अगर तुम्हें लगता है कि तुम चूतिए हो ना, तो इस वीडियो के बाद तुम्हें लगेगा कि एटलीस्ट मैं इतना चूतिया तो नहीं हूँ। सो लेट्स गेट राइट इनटू इट।
Number 10. Grenade selfie. Two men were traveling in Russia when they came across a live grenade. In this case,
तुम्हें रास्ते में मिलेगा ग्रेनेड, तुम क्या करोगे? भाग जाओगे? नॉर्मल इंसान यही करेगा।
just so happened to have the pin pulled out, which for those of you who don't know, that means the grenade is armed and could very easily explode. Obviously, the reason it wasn't already detonated was a fault in the system, which you might think means it was okay to pick up.
I don't think कोई सोचेगा कि it is okay to pick up a grenade.
True. That just made it even more dangerous. The two men didn't know that and decided it would be a great idea to pick up
Obviously, कुछ चूतिया सोचेंगे।
it and then take a selfie with it. As you might expect, they didn't survive the experience. In fact, the grenade blew up mid-photo shoot. But rather ironically, while the men died, the phone somehow survived, and
Phone
thus
बच
was
गया?
used as evidence to show how the
Nokia
two
का
men
phone
died. Number 9. Michael Goodwin. The case of Michael Goodwin is one of many layers. He was originally slated to be put to death, but then a change in his sentencing came in and he was given the punishment of life in prison. A change of good fortune, or at least it should have been. Living in his cell was fine, until one day he realized that the TV he had in it, due to good
जेल में टीवी भी होता है क्या? I don't think इंडिया की जेल में टीवी होता है।
behavior wasn't working. He examined it and eventually realized there was a bad wire. After taking stock of the situation and his own skill set, Goodwin felt the best option was to cut the wire with his teeth. And this was dumb on many levels, not the least of which was that due to it being a live wire, it was literally full of electricity, and thus he was electrocuted.
बेचारा सोच रहा होगा कि डेथ सेंटेंस से बच गया, बट आई गेस बेचारा नहीं बोलना चाहिए। कुछ तो ऐसा उसने क्राइम किया ही होगा जो को डेथ सेंटेंस या लाइफ इम्प्रिजनमेंट जैसी बड़ी सजा मिली।
Murder. In 2002, a farmer in Brazil was going about his property and realized that there was a massive beehive there waiting for him. Bees can be very dangerous and potentially
Bees are terrifying. और लाइक मधुमक्खी चलो एनवायरनमेंट बचाती है, हनी बनाती हैं, पर वास्प्स क्या करती हैं यार? वो तो खाली हमें काटने के लिए छोड़ रखे हैं क्या भगवान ने?
deadly depending on the species and a person's reaction to their painful stings. So thus caution was needed, and he did just that to an extent. To get rid of the bees, the man realized he needed to protect himself from the stings and then use
Obviously.
fire to get rid of the hive. Which in this
Nice
case
idea.
was a good two-part plan,
nice
more or
plan.
less.
No
He went and
stupidity.
prepared to burn the bees away. But his idea of protecting himself was putting a plastic bag over his head and sealing it tight. And if you're already seeing the problem with this, then you'd be much smarter than this man.
प्लास्टिक बैग, लाइक और कुछ नहीं मिला इसको, प्लास्टिक बैग। एक सेकंड।
Bag wouldn't stop bee stings, but it gets worse because he forgot about having to breathe. He didn't put holes in the bag so oxygen could get through, and thus he found himself
Bro,
suffocated by the tree where the bees were still very much alive.
बीस बच गए, बेचारा खुद मर गया। I think this is the stupidest. Like इससे ज्यादा stupid क्या हो सकता है?
Backwards thinking. Driving is dangerous no matter what people like to think. There are many accidents on the roads of the world every single day.
In fact, एयरप्लेन क्रैशेस के मल्टीपल टाइम ज्यादा लोग कार क्रैशेस में मरते हैं।
Even an act as simple as parking. A certain 58-year-old woman from Australia, for example, forgot something rather important one day, to put her car in park. The reason she stopped the car on the way to the grocery store was because she wondered if she'd remembered the plastic bags in the trunk. Those plastic bags she used a lot thanks to a recycling mindset. So she responsibly pulled over, got out of the car, and checked the trunk. But this was the fatal mistake, because when she was doing this act, the car, which was not in park, started to roll backwards right when she was behind it, thus knocking her down and running her over.
Bro, I feel really bad for her. जब तक उसने बाकी सब कुछ किया तब तक गाड़ी खड़ी थी। जब उसने ट्रंक खोला तो उस टाइम गाड़ी पीछे जाने लगी।
In South Korea, video gaming is a lifestyle, as one man named Lee tried not just to do, but to embody. During one session with the game StarCraft, he decided to play for 50 hours straight, without eating, without sleeping, without taking care of his body in general. The only breaks he took were to go to the bathroom when he really couldn't hold it anymore. If you can see the problem with this, then you know where this is going, because after playing for those 50 hours and not taking care of his body, he died.
पहली बार मैं सुन रहा हूँ गेम खेलने से भी कोई मर सकता है क्या? 50 आवर्स कितने होते हैं? 2 दिन और 2 रात। लाइक वो खाली 2 रात नहीं सोया और 6 मील्स उसने मिस किए तो उसकी डेथ हो गई। आई एम श्योर उसको और भी कुछ हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम्स होंगी।
Eat in the course of 10 to 15 minutes after every few hours. So thus he died trying to live a lifestyle that was literally unobtainable.
गेमर्स ध्यान रखना अपना।
Number 5. Lava lamp bomb. There are rules to follow when first getting them and heating them up. Mainly do it slowly or else.
Lava
Enter
lamps?
Philip, who did not want to follow this
दिखने में
rule at
cool
all
है।
because he wanted to see his lava lamp in full flow. Being impatient, he decided to put the lamp on the stove and use its heat to make the lava lamp go. And it should be noted that doing this is in direct contradiction to the warnings on the label of the item. After a little while, the lamp exploded from the pressure, and the shards of glass that were launched from the lamp went straight into Philip, killing him. Number 4. Did you hear something? Something you wouldn't expect to be killed by without noticing it is a helicopter coming down on you. Yet in British Columbia, a student in the area was indeed killed when a helicopter crashed into the ground and killed him. Why didn't he see or hear anything? The first answer is because he wasn't facing the correct direction apparently, which I guess makes sense. And the second part to that question is that the student had headphones on. The volume turned up real loud, which was later confirmed by an eyewitness.
इसमें तो वो खाली अनलकी हो गया। बाहर के देशों में तो इतना क्राउड नहीं होता। इंडिया में भी बहुत लोग लगा के चलते हैं, बट कोई ये तो एक्सपेक्ट नहीं करेगा ना कि मुझे रास्ते में चलते चलते एक लिटरल हेलीकॉप्टर सर पे गिर जाएगा।
Number 3. Clean sweep. In today's day and age, a chimney is not as standard in homes as they used to be in the past decades, mainly because modern advances in heating make them less useful, and they can be a bit of a pain to clean. And should you not clean them, you risk burning down your home. Enter Marco. He started to clean his chimney in the basic way by using a broom, but he realized that it just wouldn't work. So he had a creative idea. Using a chain and a weight, he could have the broom go all the way through the chimney without much effort. All in all, kinda not a bad idea, but the weight aspect of this plan is where things got dumb, because he decided to use a grenade. But wait, there's more. Because not only was he using a potentially explosive device to send down a chimney, he also felt he needed to make sure it didn't get off the chain he was tying it to, so he welded it on. Once the welding fire touched it, it exploded and Marco was killed. That's what happens when you really don't think plans like these through.
ग्रेनेड से अपनी चिमनी साफ करने का सोचा उसने। भाई ने सोचा कि मेरे को जीनियस आइडिया आया, मैं एल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन से भी ऊपर हूँ ब्रो। और नेक्स्ट 2 केस इससे भी ज्यादा डम है। हाउ कैन समथिंग बी डमर देन दिस?
Big air. For those who don't know, kite surfing is a respected endeavor in which people use kites that are like parachutes to skate across the water and sometimes get really big air. It's a complicated thing, but to those who know what they're doing, it can be quite the rush. However, the thing you must look out for is the massive wind currents, because they can literally spell your doom. And that's what happened to Adrian Monnoyer. During a particularly windy day, weather reports told surfers to stay off the oceans. But many, including Adrian, refused and thus went kite surfing.
ऐसे रिस्की चीजों में डेफिनेटली दूसरों की सुननी चाहिए। लाइक रिपोर्ट्स ने बोला नहीं जाओ तो मत जाओ।
As Adrian was doing this, he got caught up in a gale of wind that was 100 miles per hour. It was so strong that it literally lifted him up into the air and sent him inland, to which he would go and hit many buildings with his body, including a massive hotel. And then after finally being disconnected from his kite, he would fall to his death from 50 feet up.
15 मीटर से गिरा हुआ। Okay, ये है number 1 dumbest way to die. Let's see what it is.
Number 1, stay in the vehicle. When you go on a safari, especially one that has various animals of incredible sizes, one of the most important rules is to not leave the vehicle at any point unless specifically told. And this is for people's safety as well as the safety of the animals. But for 2 elderly German tourists at a Spanish safari, they decided not to heed the many warnings that were put across the safari park and get out of the vehicle to go and enjoy the animals more.
एक तो इनकी गाड़ियां भी ओपन होती हैं, मुझे कभी समझ नहीं आया कि ओपन गाड़ियों में क्यों जाते हैं।
Prove the point, near immediately after they got out of the car, a set of tigers pounced upon them and killed them both. The park didn't release too much information about the couple, but it was clear clear that they didn't obey the rules, and it literally cost them their lives.
अगर टहलने ही जाना है तो अपने पार्क में चले जाओ ना, ऐसी जगह पे जरूर जाना है जहां तुम पोटेंशियली एक टाइगर का लंच बन सकते हो. सो दैट्स इट फॉर टुडे गाइज. लेट मी नो इन द कमेंट्स तुम्हें कौन सा सबसे ज्यादा डम केस लगा. एंड ऑब्वियसली रेस्ट इन पीस टू ऑल ऑफ दोज पीपल हु लॉस्ट देयर लाइव्स इन दिस वीडियो. एंड या, don't do dumb stuff. See you in the next one.